weekday into a geek day. I am one of your hosts, Rob, and with me today we have the other host extraordinaire, Mr. Alex Moon. Hey, Alex Moon, how
That's
art
it.
thou?
How art thou?
Yeah.
I am. I art thou good, you virgin.
Oh. God forbid a man
I'm
wants to be
good.
a little Shakespearean, you know?
You know, I was gonna say nothing helps us get out of this unscathed because I was gonna make a theater joke and I'm like that makes it worse.
Literally before this, you were like, "Oh," you said like, "Oh," you made a joke about me. You're like, "Oh, what a crazy thing to make fun of call a nerdy host a nerd on a nerd podcast." I'm
Yeah,
like, "That's so true."
yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, way to make fun of the nerdy host for being a nerd on the nerd podcast. I'm like, loser.
But hey, man, it's been 2 weeks since our last episode. Mostly
It
because
has been 2 weeks.
we've been very busy. I was celebrating my anniversary with my lovely wife, and you were dying.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, I had sepsis,
yes.
so arguably I had a bigger excuse. You were just in love, but whatever.
I felt really bad. I don't want to know if you want to talk a little bit more about the situation that would happen with the voice
No,
memos or whatever.
I had just gotten sick and hold up, on my TikTok it still has the old title. But anyway, no, on I wasn't feeling good last week. I couldn't hold food down. I was constantly in the bathroom throwing up and taking a dump. I couldn't nothing was going good. But nothing was going great. And I had texted Robert because Robert was like, "Hey, like we're doing the show tomorrow, whatever." And I was like, "If there is a show tomorrow, bro, I don't feel good at all." And Robert's response was, "Oh, your little baby has an upset tummy," and I was like, "Oh, okay, get the hell out of here." And then immediately after that, I texted Robert from the ER, and I was like sending him photos of my IV bag, and I was like, "Look, I'm dead. I'm dead."
I'm
Um,
weak.
yeah, I didn't realize the angle was so wide. I didn't have to move that Captain America.
I told you you didn't have to move anything. It looked great.
Well, now I'm gonna move him back. You say something for a
All good,
minute.
all good. We actually already have a comment in here from Vince in our TikTok. So if you're listening later on, you can always join us on our TikToks and our Twitches. Usually we're live on Thursdays, but today is a little bit different because we're gonna have we have some busy stuff on Thursday. So we have someone saying top 5 Pixar movies. Number 1 for sure for me is gonna be Coco. I think that's a Pixar movie. Someone asked for our top 5 Pixar movies. I got Coco. I got Cars 3. I love Cars 3. I don't know if I can name. Is Tangled considered Pixar or is that Disney Pixar?
Ooh, I don't
Ooh,
even know, bro.
I can't even think of actual. Lightyear wasn't that bad. I don't know why people really hate it. I thought Lightyear was pretty good.
Wait, Cars 3. You put Cars 3. Oh, okay, Cars 3.
Cars
Sorry,
3. Yes, Cars
Cars 3
3.
makes sense.
Not Cars 2.
I thought Cars. Yeah. I was like Cars 2. You communist. Um,
No, Cars 3. And I can't name a fifth one off the top of my head right now. I guess Toy Story 2? No, 3. Toy Story 3 is really good.
dude, that's wild. For me, like just going off the rip, it's got to be Toy. For me, it's Toy Story 1 and 2 are in there. Cars 1 for sure. The Incredibles. Incredibles is Pixar, right?
Incredibles is Pixar, yes.
Okay. And then I think like you, Coco. Coco is a great
Coco,
one
yeah.
that I feel like doesn't get enough love. That's great. Monsters Inc. number 1. That's a good one. Vince is throwing out
That's a
Monsters
great
Inc.
one.
number 1.
I want to remove one of them. I don't know which one, but I'm gonna throw on Onward. I think it's an underdog.
Ooh,
Onward's a
Onward
really
is
good movie.
really good. And that wasn't that released like in the era of like the pandemic
It
of
was
like those.
the last movie I saw before the pandemic started.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was about to say, I feel like that was when I remember watching on streaming after everything was happening. I think, wasn't it that one and Black Widow were like the first ones that were like, hey, we're in theaters and on streaming, but nobody was
Yes.
going to theaters? Yeah.
Yeah.
Coco is bad in your opinion? Oh, that's wild,
That's
Vince.
wild.
That's wild. And also, just to mention it, if you're anywhere listening to our podcast right now, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever, you can get in on the chat live in show. And when you check out our live streams, I would love to tell you that there's a specific date we go live, but we're always changing the shit.
lately it's been Thursdays, but it's been kind of crazy. So we just got to make
Yeah,
it
it's
happen, you know.
yeah. But and then you can do things on the fly like this. What's up, Snowball? Who's in our chat right now? 'Cause he's watching us
What
live.
up, Snowball? I know Solar Punk's in there. He's not talking, but he's in there. What up, Solar Punk? But Alex, let's get into the actual meat of the show. Right now,
Yes.
how we start off the show every single week is talking about what we have been doing, and we have 2 weeks of what have you been doing to kind of get through.
Oh God.
So,
Yes. And
Alex,
just to mention it real quick, sorry for the people in chat. If you have other questions for us, usually we'll try to answer them like while we're going between topics. So don't feel like we're ignoring you. We have certain topics we want to hit, and then we'll also round a chat either if it's relevant to the topic or if you have questions, we'll like do it in between topics. But I'm sorry, Rob. So what were you were finishing explaining what we were doing during the week?
absolutely, no, that needed to be said. Yeah, so we have 2 weeks of stuff to kind of get to, of kind of stuff. So, Alex, besides surviving and recuperating and feeling better, what have you been doing the past 2 weeks that's been your nerdy fix?
I really didn't get to do a lot last week because I was dead. I was dying. But leading up to that, and I was getting back into it today, I actually started reading um, Avengers and X-Men Gamma Quest, which is
Ooh,
actually it's like a novel, or there's three novels, and I got the omnibus novel where it's all three put together. Because there was a little part of me that has been itching. I was really into. I mean, I'm still into them, but like I read a lot of cowboy western novels, and I've been reading a lot more comics lately. And there was something itching in me that's like, dude, read a book, like a get some pages in front of you with just bricks of words. And I was like, okay, how do I mix those two things? So I picked that up, and I've been liking it so far. So I've been
nice.
reading that. I've been. I know we're going to talk about it here in a minute, but I watched Wonder Man. But Rob in his own chat, terrifying. But watch Wonder Man. We'll talk about that a little bit. But the other thing I've been doing is me, the Missus, and Little Moon have been actually watching through the Spider-Man movies. My daughter has always really liked Spider-Man, but now we're actually sitting through watching the movies. We watched Homecoming the other night. We just finished watching Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1 yesterday, and then we started watching Spider-Man 2. So we're kind of making it through it, and I'm excited to see her take this journey to get to No Way Home and then see all that. So that's going to be really fun. But yeah, that's kind of some of the nerdy stuff I've been doing, watching movies, reading stuff, and obviously reading comics week to week. But the stuff that comes to mind is definitely that. But what about you, Bobbert? What have you been doing? What nerdy stuff has been keeping you away from the touch of a woman?
Oh my goodness, so much. No, for sure the big thing. It honestly, I think it dropped today. Overwatch has dropped to 2. It's back to just regular Overwatch. Huge overhaul of the game. They dropped 5 new heroes instantly. You're getting 1 new hero per season. I was an Overwatch sicko back in like college. I honestly, Alex, I'm not ashamed to say this. I think other people think I should be. But I had like over like 1,200 hours in Overwatch. Like I was playing like anytime that I was not in class or doing assignments, I was playing Overwatch. So I went into it following it into Overwatch 2, and then I finally dropped off. Now most of my day, like my gaming is mostly like single player games. Like I'm also playing Final Fantasy Remake, the first one, because it finally dropped on Xbox. So I'm playing it on there, as well as my other kind of hyperfixation with multiplayer games is Deadlock right now. Deadlock is an amazing game that makes me mad because I'm so bad at it. And other than that, I mean, I've been like, I think I've also been reading novels too. So I'm trying to get back into it. My goal every year is to try and read at least 50 novels. Last year I did 51. So I'm trying to keep going. I'm only on my second book, but slowly but surely knocking it out. But these video games are really taking a toll on me. Been in a really big gaming mood, so I'm letting that kind of take over everything.
Dude, I just want to point out for a second. One, I'm very happy for you. Two, for those of y'all who don't know how many days 1,200 hours is, that is 50 days. That is 50 days. My man is and with the hours he's clocking in now, that boy's been 2 months in Overwatch. When when he dies and he goes up to whatever pearly gates or whatever deity he believes in, they're going to look at him and they're going to be like, you were good, you donated to the poor, and you spent 2 months of your life watching jiggle physics? Like, that's wild. That's
Yeah.
nuts.
I was like so into it that they made an Overwatch League, which was kind of like professional sports. Each team, like city, had their own team. I was a Dallas Fuel fan, and I went to Dallas to go watch them play Overwatch in real life. That's how much of a fan I was. So I went to like Overwatch sporting events outside of the city that I live in. I drove 4 hours to go watch this game. So 100%. Yeah, I love that.
We got Snowball in the chat saying, I got 1,500 hours on Rainbow Six Siege. Don't worry, gang.
See, I'm not
Damn,
alone.
bro.
I'm not alone. When you love a game or hate a game enough that you're addicted to, you just can't get over it. So I'm glad that I feel good enough to like go back and enjoy Overwatch to the capacity that maybe I loved. I'm probably only honestly gonna play it for like maybe 3 more times unless it really catches my attention. But I'm just glad that it is back. I'm glad that Blizzard's putting in more work into it, and hoping to see that the Overwatch community starts to thrive again.
Hell yeah. That's dope as hell, dude. Man, Robert had such a better week than I did. Okay, Rob, do we want to transition into our first topic for the night?
Let's go ahead and take a question from the chat first, and then I think we should jump
okay.
into them. So we had someone say, I think it was Vince, opinion on people wanting the DCEU back.
Robert, do you want to go first, or
I'll go first because I think mine's gonna be very brief.
Go ahead.
Get over it, bro. It's done. It's done. Like the Snyderverse, the DCEU verse is over. I think that they're maybe you can like kind of like what Marvel's doing is they're picking up like the scraps of like the Fox universe or the Sony universe and they're putting it into their thing. They could maybe do that, sure, whatever James Gunn wants to do. But bro, get over it. It's gone. GG.
I'm a little bit in the same mindset that it's like, it's gone. But with that being said, I don't think for me that alone is a good enough argument. Like, it's done because Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was done. Look what we got. Andrew Garfield's stuff was done. Look what we got. And you mentioned it, the Fox Universe stuff, it was done, and we're getting some of that stuff back. That, with that being said, I'm of the same mindset, but coming from a different way. And that different way is that the shit wasn't good enough, bro. Like, it just wasn't. Like, there's a reason people have been clamoring. Everybody, not just like some people, not a subsection of people in the world have been like, I would have loved more Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. I'd love more Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. It wasn't a subsection of people. It was the majority of people.
Yep.
So, like, the 50 people that are making multiple pages to have 500 people in that Facebook group y'all got going on, like, it's just because you guys like it, and I'm glad that you like it. I'm glad that you love it. I like Madam Web. The movie, I like the Madam Web movie. Am I going to be sitting here saying that I want them to bring back the Webverse? No, because it was bad. And I know that, and that's fine that it was bad, So, I don't know. I get that there's a lot of people that want it, and I get that some people are like, well, with Netflix getting it, maybe they're going to do it, because we did it with the Snyder cut of the Justice League. Guys, it didn't cost them a lot of money to do that. Because everyone was at home. They weren't filming new shit. That was everything had to fall in the right way for it to work out. And as much as I love the Snyder Cut, it is overindulgent. It would have never worked in the theaters. It would have never been the thing that came out. So it's not good enough. And I think that's the thing. It's okay to admit that. It was a fun experiment. We're past it. Shut the fuck up. Solar Punk saying DC fans didn't like the DCEU, so how would casual audiences jump on board? That's true. The diehard fans had mixed feelings about the DCEU, and that's not even to mention, like you're saying, the general audience. I feel like the general audience is really liking this new direction they're going with this new Superman and stuff, and I think it would be wild and an insane pivot for DC to be like, you know what we should do? The old shit that didn't work. So But yeah, so Rob, do you want to take us into our first topic, or
Yeah,
you want me to take us into it, or
yeah, definitely.
you tell
So,
me?
Alex, we're talking about the DCEU, right? We just had a
Yes.
huge entrance into the brand new MCU kind of going forward with Wonder Man. We are a bit behind on this, but I absolutely devoured Wonder Man in like one sitting on my flights from back from San Diego when I was visiting with my wife. Yeah, I was able to crush that so fast. I want to know overall, just blanket opinion before we jump in, really deep dive into it. I don't know if we're going to talk spoilers or not. I don't really think I need to talk spoilers too much, but overall, what is your opinion? What is your rating for Wonder Man?
My rating for Wonder Man, I went into it, and I think me and you both were really championing this show. We're very excited about it. I know you like fell in love with Wonder Man in between it, like being announced and it coming out. So I know you probably have definitely more background than I do for him as a character. But I was super excited about the show. I honestly 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. I think it's probably one of the best Marvel shows that we've ever gotten. And I made a video about it that divided some people because I think that in my opinion, you tell me yours, but in my opinion, I believe this is better than WandaVision. I believe this is better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I believe this is better than Daredevil Born Again. Like I think this is just so, and I said Daredevil Born Again. I just want to bring that
Yeah,
up. I
yeah,
said
yeah.
Daredevil
Born
Born Again.
again, born again.
Yes, Born Again. And I genuinely, the only one that I came to in my brain that I'm like, I don't know if this is as good or better is Loki. And that's the only one that I'm kind of like, I don't know if it necessarily dethrones that, but it's so good. It's a great character piece, not movie, but show. I cried in that show. Like I cried at the end. Some of the stuff that goes on, the friendship between Simon and Trevor, I was just like, I loved it. So good, knocked it out of the park. And I'm so glad because I think that it didn't have a great push marketing wise. I'm so glad that the word of mouth, and I'm very proud and happy to say that I could contribute to that a little bit because a bunch of people messaged me or commented on my video. They're like, I didn't know this was out. I'm gonna go check it out now, and it deserves it. We need to tell Marvel this is the stuff we want. But Robert, what did you think of Wonder Man? Tell me kind of how you felt going into it and how you felt, once you had kind of already watched it.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I absolutely loved Wonder Man. I think it is one of the best things that Disney has made overall, and in the last, sorry, Marvel has made, but really Disney, in the last like 5-ish years. Um, the only thing I would probably say that I was like, kind of took me away a little bit more from Wonder Man would definitely kind of be in that like, man, I wished there was a little bit more superhero into it. But I mean, I get it. This is like one of the Marvel spotlight, shows they have. So like, Werewolf by Night. It's in that vein where it's like, hey, like, don't take this too seriously. Like, yes, this is a really serious piece of content that we trust. Really, really, we trust a lot. But it's not necessarily going to have larger implications for the MCU. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a Falcon Winter Soldier. It's not a WandaVision. This is just a story that we would like to tell. Um, that's awesome. I think that's really cool that they are doing that. But I think that works for Werewolf by Night. When it's Wonder
Mm-hmm.
Man, who in comics is, a part of the West Coast Avengers and has his own, has his own like runs and stuff like that, that he focuses on not necessarily Monster of the Week, but it is that actor also fighting crime sort of dynamic. That's what I was kind of
The,
looking.
the superhero stakes were a little higher. You wanted the superhero
Yes.
stakes to be a bit higher. Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So that was the only thing I was like quote unquote disappointed about. But I mean, the story overall, I really loved what they did with his powers. Where it to me, it was like a symbol of anxiety. That like it was all about like, hey, how can I hold this in? And whenever you're not able to hold that like anxiousness back, it's an explosive thing that happens. He breaks a
Mm-hmm.
kitchen island or creates a hole in the wall or whatever. That there are ramifications for him using his powers and him holding it back. What did you think about the idea of like the doorman clause or whatever, the law, where it's like
Oh,
people with superpowers can't act or whatever.
I loved it for two reasons. The first one is I love when there are broader implications for superheroes in these universes. Like if you're going to have a connected shared universe, it makes sense that they're going to have those things that maybe you wouldn't really think about, but in their world it's a big deal. Like I loved, like, for as much you can say whatever you want, but when it comes to things like She-Hulk, I loved seeing Matt Murdock in that courtroom talking about the ramifications of the Sokovia Accords, how they
Mm-hmm.
were overturned or whatever, right? So I loved that, like it being a law that these people have to think about. I love that it also gives us a natural source of anxiety for Simon and wanting to keep this hidden, his powers. And the other thing is the doorman episode in general to kind of lead us up into these doorman laws, clauses, whatever the hell they are. I thought that was like so cool. That was such a beautiful episode. And I remember watching it, and when I was first watching it, I was like, oh, this guy's like Cloak, like, and because I
Yeah.
I know I know Doorman like adjacently, like Doorman is not a character that I was like, oh, I'm gonna see, or I'm gonna see Doorman and be excited. I knew who Cloak was, or who Doorman was adjacently. So when he starts doing the powers, I'm like, oh, he has like cloak powers. He has like, like he opens up a piece of clothing and he goes in, that kind of thing. And then they do the thing where he's in the mask. And when I saw the mask is when I went, oh,
Like that's so
okay,
cool. Like
okay. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it really hit me that I was like, oh, it's fucking Doorman. And it probably took me way too long to get it, but once I was locked into that episode, I thought it was one of the best episodes of that season. It was acted fantastically. Josh Gad is fucking incredible in that
So
episode.
good.
It's so good. But yeah, I loved it. All the Doorman Claw stuff and all that I thought was absolutely fantastic. Robert, a question I kind of wanted to throw to you, because uh, I really like when these shows and movies in these cinematic universes intertwine in ways that you wouldn't expect, right? And there's, we don't have to get into spoilers, but there's a big thing with Trevor, who previously has been in other films. He's been in Iron Man 3, he's been in Shang-Chi. How did you like his introduction into the story, and how did you feel about kind of where they take his character, kind of harkening back to some of his older character stuff?
I I I loved it. Like that's the like kind of overall thing. Like
Yeah,
I think that
yeah,
Trevor is like the joke that they put out in the very beginning, or like like it's the red herring that they threw in Iron Man 3. But
hmm,
it's the thing that just keeps giving, man. And it you would think that like at some point it would be derivative of itself, right? Like it'd be like, okay, we get
yeah.
it, it's done, whatever, blah blah blah. No, like it's on every single time it gets
So
better and
good.
better. I mean, like because
Yeah.
it started off in Iron Man 3, and then they had the Marvel
Hmm.
short that they had with him. I don't remember what it was.
Yes, yes.
Um,
It was like All Hail to the King or something like
yes,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they had that, and then it built into Shang-Chi, where again
Hmm.
he's a joke character. It's like, hey, we need. I was really good, smart what they did. It's like, hey, we're bringing in this character that was kind of like a joke about like how do I say it? Showing it like that. Hey, this subversion of this character was probably not the
Hmm.
best overall, and that like they're trying to make the Mandarin more legitimate in Shang-Chi, and then now
Yeah.
bring it into here where it's like, oh, we get to see him be like an actor. Like this is why he was casted for this
Hmm.
role. And you know us being in theater, and then us making our short films and stuff like that when we were younger, really knowing that
Okay.
crowd and being like, oh, like he's the best and worst of those people,
Uh-huh.
and
Yep.
God, I love that so much. He's
It was so good.
Go ahead, what would you say?
Oh no, I was gonna say it made me excited, and I want to see more Trevor. And
Mm-hmm.
like, it's wild that I walked out of Wonder Man loving both Simon and Trevor, but I arguably want to see more Trevor than I do Simon.
I agree 100%.
Which, yeah, which is no knock on Wonder Man as a show or as a character. It's just that character was so endearing, and there's a big thing I don't want to spoil for anyone who watches this now or later that happens in that show that I was just like, wow. Like there's a thing that happens, and I remember as I was watching, I was like I was Frank Castle, where I was like, no, wait, and then when they revealed what he did to help Simon, I was just like, oh my God, it makes all the sense. It's like the biggest plot twist that was right in front of us the whole time. And like just the full character growth and it tying in with the Barnaby and Wonder Man stuff and the script that they're doing. It was just so good. I'm going to gush about it if I keep going on, but overall Wonder Man is so good. And I wanted to real quick hit on Solar Punk is in the chat right now saying some stuff about Wonder Man. First off, Solar Punk gave Wonder Man a 9.6 out of 10, which damn near 10. I mean, I think it deserves that wholeheartedly. But he also goes on to say, I feel adding more superhero action would have undercut the theme of how powers can prevent Simon's actual dream of being an actor, which is fair.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that ties into what Robert was saying about how while we would have liked more of it, it's the spotlight thing, and I'm going to come back to Robert with a question, kind of bouncing off that in a minute. And then Solar Pump also says, but I can see what you mean. People know Wonder Man from the comics, but Marvel did a bad job advertising what the show is going to be. I agree. I do agree. I think that's a big thing for a lot of people is that this show, I feel like thank God the word of mouth seems to have spread so much more on this show because it deserves it and it needs it. And, anytime we get these great superhero shows, we gotta talk about it. We gotta let people know. We gotta let Marvel know that this is the type of stuff we really like. But not only that, and this is my soapbox moment. We have so many great characters of different races and cultures, and here they have, it was a big controversy at the beginning that Simon is being played by not a white actor, and in the comics he's typically white. But they also bring in like these Haitian roots and all that, and it's so beautiful.
I love that so
dude,
much.
yes, and it's the perfect thing. So I've made videos about this, and I've argued with people about it. You can change a character's race if their race isn't important. And from what I know, and you can tell me if I'm wrong because I know you've been reading more of them, but Simon Williams, his race really isn't a big deal. Like it's not like he's not like Irish. He's not like, like it's not really embedded in him. It's not like a Matt Murdock or something. But with that being said, they don't just change something to change it. They enriched that character with more culture. And I feel like that's the perfect way to change characters, to adapt characters. I loved it. I thought it was really good. But
I agree. I want to kind of go back to more of them like race swapping Simon Williams, where man, it not like you said, it amplified really the story overall because it is that like us, two people, we're brown people or people of color, but it is that thing where it's like, oh, he's like, oh, my mom is an immigrant to this country. And it is that sort of thing where there's that competition between the two brothers, where it's like, hey, like he's the successful doctor or whatever he is, and like it opens up that scene with like talking about like how well he's doing versus like, oh, hey, I got fired from my show, and which is not a spoiler. It's literally the first scene of the show. But he's like, I got fired, and it is that sort of thing where it's like, oh, again, that feeds into the anxiety sort of thing, which talks about more about his powers. And I just love that whole episode where they go, I'm not going to spoil too much, but they go and you see really the culture. It's just awesome.
It's so good.
Just seeing different cultures being represented super well within the MCU. I can't wait for, Hispanics for us to fully get our day. I know we had a little bit with America Chavez, but like, I don't think it necessarily.
Not really.
Yeah.
Like, and I would say there was probably more of it with like Blue Beetle.
Yes.
Blue Beetle was a great one. Blue Beetle was a one that just got buried, man. That was just not. There was never going to be a great day for Blue Beetle, but I agree 100%. Like, and I think we're getting closer and closer to it when we have things like this that really highlight cultures more. But yeah, and Robert, the question I wanted to ask you to kind of end off our Wonder Man thing. So like we said, this is a Marvel Spotlight thing. They give us enough to know about Simon Williams, enough to know where he's coming from, enough to know him as a character. We didn't dive in a lot into the superhero stuff, right? And that's just fact of the matter. With that being said, do you feel like this has at least introduced Simon Williams enough or established his character enough to where you're going to be excited when he pops up, or if or when he pops up in an Avengers film? Or do you think that that they have built up Simon's character enough to where if he just randomly pops up in Doomsday or Secret Wars, he's established enough to where people will be like, oh, I can hop on board with this character, seeing him for the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you think we've built him up enough to where he stands on his own now?
Built him up enough? I honestly don't think so.
Okay.
I think like him as a character, him as Simon Williams, yes. Him as
Not him as
Wonder Man, not at all. I think that like they didn't really specify what his powers were. Like they were like little hints and stuff like that they would have like dossiers from like the Department of oh my god, let's say Department
Damage
of
Control.
Damage Control. I was gonna say Control from like the video game Control. But no, yeah, I don't think they expressed enough of what his powers were to kind of be like, oh, I don't think that they're gonna bring him in too much into this. I think this was kind of a one and done, and yes, maybe they'll do what like they do for Kumail Nanjiani's character, where they have the movie posters in the background from like his all the movies that he's done within his life. I think he's going to be relegated to that. Maybe we'll get a season 2. Highly doubt it.
Man, which sucks. Which sucks. I would watch it. Oh.
Yeah. Before I want to throw one more question out before we jump into our next one, because I know we're itching to get to talk to everything else that we're going to be talking about, but. Marvel Spotlight, like you said, we were talking. This is a bit different than just a regular TV show they do. This is highlighting more of like the character focused stuff. What character in the MCU do you think deserves a Marvel Spotlight TV show of their own? Not necessarily about like their powers or about like what character do you think could be really dug in deep. That's one character that's not already in the MCU.
Damn it!
Yes, you can't say Sam Wilson.
You can't say Sam Wilson.
Yes, yeah.
Look, really quick. I will pick another character, but I just want to say there is so much of Sam Wilson we haven't even tapped into. I feel like I would love. I would take a 6-episode arc of him when he was working in the soup kitchen. But anyway, with that being said, I think a really fun character to do like a spotlight on, and it's a little bit. See, I was going to say both of the ones that come to my mind technically have been in the MCU in some way, but I feel like we didn't dive into them as much as I feel like we could have. And those two characters are Luke Cage and Moon Knight. And Moon Knight, we've had a Moon Knight show already. But the Moon Knight show, I mean, I think everybody, as much as we all liked Moon Knight to an extent, they really, for some reason, tiptoed around whatever's going on with him mentally. They really didn't want to say, they really didn't want to say what was going on or dive into it a whole lot. And anytime we were getting close to it, they'd be like, oh yeah, weird mystical shit. Like, but I want to focus in on those characters. I don't need to see a sterilized Mark Spector. I want to see him low. I want to see him not being able to live his life. I want to see the moldy pizza boxes in his room. Like, I want to see that stuff that is real. And I think that's what I really liked about Wonder Man, is like he's living a real actor's life. Like he's auditioning, he's struggling, he's doesn't have the flashiest apartment. And I love for that. I'd love for that also for a Luke Cage show. Because again, like you said, what I really like about Wonder Man is it is more character-based, character-focused. It's not like, what powers do I have? How hard can I hit? You know, how many bullets can I take? It's more about the characters. And I feel like both Moon Knight and Luke Cage, which I know to varying degrees have been in the MCU already, I feel like they're primed for that type of thing, which is what I hope we're getting with the Punisher. But as far as someone who hasn't been touched at all, man, I don't know. One, because they've kind of touched everybody that like in a more broad sense. If anything, maybe those spotlight things could be more reserved for like villains, like that we don't get to spend enough time with, like those underdeveloped villains, like your Ronan the Accusers, your Justin Hammers, the guys that are kind of one note. Like, give us spotlights on those guys that we don't necessarily get a lot of. But yeah.
Yeah, I would say like I have two in mind. Both
Tell
are
me, tell me.
characters that are, more they're in comics, haven't been introduced in the MCU yet for, better or worse. First one I think would be a great adaptation of the four issue series for Firestar. I think she would be awesome because
Ooh.
I love it. I finally have all four issues of that original run, and it's her being kind of taken away from her father and being indoctrinated by Emma Frost, teaching her to hate the X-Men and stuff like that. But through her eyes, you get to see a lot of the hate of mutants through her. So I think that would be a really cool thing as like an introduction to like the world and mutants through kind of her eyes, as she's like a young person getting put through this world with a power that's frankly very destructive. Where like people have like
Mhm.
quote unquote like the right to be afraid of her power because she just melts the fuck out of stuff.
Mhm.
The other person, and it's someone I don't know very often, but I've seen her. She's been getting a lot of attention lately. Elsa Bloodstone. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so I mean, I only honestly really know her because one, she's coming to Marvel Rivals, so that's a huge thing. So that's one, but two, in the newest issue of the Uncanny X-Men, they bring her in, and immediately, like the first page she's brought in, and I'm like, oh, this chick is awesome, a monster hunter. Like that's so cool to like introduce that part of the MCU, which we've kind of gotten with, Doctor Strange ish, but like to actually see like, oh, here's monsters, and then there are people in the world that are hunting these things. That's probably why you haven't seen them so often in the
I
MCU.
mean, it's untapped, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally outside of Werewolf by Night, we really haven't gotten anything like that at all. Like the Blade movie is on forever hiatus. They're
Mm-hmm.
not all those like really cool, like kind of Van Helsing esque characters. Like they're just not tapping into them, and there's an audience for that kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing. So,
Yeah. We have
but
Solar Punk saying Mole Man show from Fantastic Four. That'd also be really cool.
that'd be really fun.
But go ahead. We were just saying.
Oh no, I was gonna kind of use that to pivot into, and we'll kind of go through these next couple ones really quick so we can get to our last topic. But Robert, I wanted to bring up something that has been bugging me.
Okay.
And bouncing off of one superhero property that has been really great, being Wonder Man. I want to jump into another superhero project that I was really hyped about and continues to get worse and worse. And that is DCKO. Robert, DCKO, unfortunately, we're filming this episode before book 4 comes out. Is book 4 the last book?
No, there's five.
There's 5. Okay, well,
Yes.
book 4 is about to come out. We just last week got DCKO boss battle. Robert, first off, tell me how you felt about DCKO at the beginning, and how are you feeling at this point?
We've kind of talked a little bit about DCK overall, where I think like marketing wise, it's a fantastic idea. It's a great product. I think it's really cool. However, I don't think it has lived up to what it has been advertised as this huge contest of champions to figure out what's going on. It's kind of been a little all over the place, and overall, I think I'm still kind of enjoying it. However, I'm not satisfied with it. I think like we know who's gonna win. Like that's kind of the thing. Um, Boss battle, I enjoyed. I'm putting in air quotes because I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. But like, there's no substance to it necessarily. I wasn't like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into it without getting to your opinion because I could just yap and yap and yap. So, what about you?
I was really hype about DCKO overall. You know this. And then, we got the first 2 issues, and I was like, we're really not getting any DCKO shit that we were promised. And then, I was like, we're just doing gauntlets. We're doing like, marathons essentially. We're doing fetch quests. And then we got All Fight Month, where I was pissed off because I was like, oh, the thing you've been promising me, I got to buy 17 other books for. And people were telling me, have you never read an event before? Fuck you. Second, I have, and I've used this over and over again. If we were reading Civil War and Iron Man and Captain America were about to fight, and they said, actually read Spider-Man 37 for this, I'd be like, fuck you. And that's how I feel about this. Like, they were hyping this up, and then they were hyping up DCKO, and then we get DCKO, and it's not the shit they were hyping up. And I feel like it's got progressively worse. DC KO Fight Month, or All Fight Month in December, I feel like was such a disaster for me. Like the best ones were the first one and the last one.
Mm-hmm.
The Superman and Captain Atom, and then Joker and Red Hood, which was a bullshit end, honestly. And we've gotten DCKO. Yeah, you did. And I was hoping you were wrong. I was like, that's such a shit idea that it can't be what's going on. That's what happened. We got DCKO boss battle.
It was super cool to see other properties brought into, but what was the reason? Like they have a reason in the beginning that it's like, I'm not going to do any spoilers, but it's like, oh, we need to give power to the Final Four. The Final Four is still the Final Four at the end of the thing, and then they don't even do the fight. Like I was like, what is this point?
To me, it stinks because it's like, oh, and sometimes comic books have to do this, right? They have to do a thing where they're like, oh, if somebody missed out on this issue, we can't let them feel like they're completely lost in the next issue, right? You could not read this issue, and it's the same thing. You can read DCKO 3 to DCKO 4, and literally they pause time, have this whole adventure, and then they just get brought back to the exact moment. And like, it's like nothing. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Tell me.
And the whole thing is like, hey, you're not supposed to cheat against the Heart of Apocalypse. This whole episode's a cheat.
And they cheated.
Yes. It's so dumb. It's so dumb, and oh my god, like they don't.
It just feels like they bend the rules randomly,
and there's no winners to these fights. It's like they said like, oh, like these are going to be like the main fights or whatever, and like you're gonna have to win to get the power or whatever, but there's no winners. There's no winners to this, and it's frustrating.
It's frustrating, and it's also like, you're right, there's no winners. And then like you brought up a good point that I didn't even think about till right now, and now it's pissing me off even more. Batman broke the rules, and they went, fuck you, you get a whole 4-point miniseries, like, or 4-issue miniseries. They just broke the rules. All of them broke the rules in a massive way, and the Heart of Apocalypse is like, that's fine. Fuck you. It just, and I get it. It's comic books, Alex. It's comic books. But what? It's just like, and the thing that pisses me off the most about the DCKO boss battle is this is where we get Superman versus Homelander. This is where we get Joker versus Annabelle. This is where we get Lex Luthor versus that fucking bear that I had to Google because I had no idea who the fuck she was. This is where we get Plastic Man and Black Lightning, which, don't get me wrong, that's a pretty cool matchup. But those are the characters you're throwing against the Mortal Kombat people?
And they had to bring them back from the dead. Like, they're like, we don't have enough people for this, so we're going to bring some people back from the dead. What?
But my thing is like, Superman, Wonder Woman, nobody went, oh, we're bringing people back from the dead, bring Batman. No, because he'll be back next issue. So, fuck you. But not only that, it just feels like if you were going to... we should have done these matchups for the All Fight Month book-long thing. Like Sub-Zero and Scorpion versus Plastic Man and Black Lightning. That should be a book. Mm-hmm. That should be a whole book. I didn't need, because it takes me back to All Fight Month, which I've already said how I fucking hate it. Like, overall, I just think it wasn't good. I didn't need 6 or 7 different full-length books with these fights where it's 90% characters monologuing about how they're good enough to be here. Like, I don't need that. Like, I didn't need that. I should have had a full book about Plastic Man and Black Lightning fighting in the Mortal Kombat universe, because that's a really interesting matchup. You have Black Lightning who, like, oh, he has the powers of the perceived god Raiden. So how did, he's just another Raiden? How do we deal with that? Or Plastic Man, because in the Mortal Kombat universe, what do? They pull people apart. You can't pull apart Plastic Man. That's cool. It's all there. It's right for it. Give me a great story of the Joker, like, not being able to be turned mad by Annabelle. These are the stories that should have been whole books. And instead we got 4 fucking panels. Everyone has been power scaling the shit out of Superman and Homelander for the past 4 months. They've been talking about this shit. And then we got it. It was nothing.
I know. I'm 100% agreeing with you. And I see like we have Hell's Kitchen Comics up in here saying, "So happy I dropped DCKO. Only good thing I've heard about it is Absolute Hawkman." And Solarpunk saying, "Also agree with what you said about how each fight has absolutely no substance. It was like how in Fast and the Furious actors have in their contracts they can't lose, so it's just ties." Yeah, 1,000%. It feels like that 100%, and it's like. I don't know, like even like the Annabelle versus Joker thing, I was like, oh, this is kind of cute, but like, how would the Joker lose that fight? Like,
What?
I don't know.
How would he lose it? But also, like, they didn't do anything with
Yeah.
it because the final panel of him and Annabelle fighting is the Joker going, "Oh, I think I saw you move."
Mm-hmm.
That bitch hadn't moved the whole time. They were just having a tea party.
Yeah, that's percent. So I'm like, I don't get it. I don't know why. Like, the coolest thing to me would have been, I think it was Vampirella versus Batwoman. That would have been awesome, also to see. Like,
And that one had like the least amount of pages or
Star
panels.
Star Sapphire and what's it called? Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Like that would be.
Oh, that
so
one had
cool.
even less. Oh
Yeah,
god.
that would have been so cool. But it's like, okay, like we're not gonna do too much or anything with this at all. But I don't know. It makes me excited. For the first time I was ever like, I should maybe go pick up a Vampirella book. Like that looks pretty cool. Or like, like be like, oh, maybe Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I know she's part of Archie Comics, but like, is her own comics kind of good? I was interested in kind of like the cross promotion worked on me a little bit. Did I buy anything? No. Will I probably no, because I don't want to have the Vampirella A covers that are very promiscuous in my possession. I don't want like I'm like 10 years gone and my kids are looking through my comics and I'm like, oh, dad was a pervert. Like I don't know.
Don't want another what is it? Absolute Batman 13 where there was only only sexy covers. God damn. But yeah, I don't know. But Robert, I am excited. Genuinely. This last book made me excited for DCKO to be over. I'm kind of over it. I want the bullshit where Batman comes back and he tells Superman to believe in himself and Superman beats everybody. Like that's what I think is going to happen, because if Batman wins or the Joker ends up winning and sacrificing himself, I don't know. At this point, it's so far gone that I'm like, anything interesting you could have done, you botched it. So whatever. I can't wait for next week for them to launch 3 other new Batman titles. Robert, on to the next thing.
Yes.
So Robert wrote, and we'll hit these next 2 really quick. Spider Noir, the Spider-Man movie, or not movie, sorry, the show that's coming to Prime Video, starring Nicolas Cage, who was Spider-Man Noir in the Spider-Verse films. We've gotten more set photos for it, but we've also gotten a release, or I don't think it was a date. I think it was like a window of spring 2026. So that's going to be here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Rob, first off, have you been keeping up with the Spider-Man Noir stuff? Are you excited about it? Have you, with what you've been seeing so far? Do you think Sony's going to cook with this, or do you think this is another like MCU adjacent Sony bullshit train waiting to happen? Train wreck waiting to happen.
I think it's gonna be another Sony train wreck waiting to happen. I'm not excited about this. I can't tell you like how much I don't care about. Like, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. Like I love that like Nicolas Cage is getting a shot at a live action version of his character from Spider-Verse. I just think that he's old. And if they're going with like that version,
He's that old.
he's old. He's like 60 something or whatever. And I'm sure he's gonna bend his knees when you hear them crack. But like, if they're gonna be, I know they said that in the story, he's not gonna be called Spider-Man. I believe they're gonna have some other name for him. He's not gonna be called Spider Noir. I don't know if they're gonna go by the Peter B. Parker thing or whatever for his name. But
I'm sure they're just going to call him like the Spider or something, or like
a Spider Detective or whatever. It truly depends on that first trailer. When that first trailer comes out, if it looks cool, if it looks like a really cool detective story that happens to have Spider-esque powers or whatever into it, I'm gonna be down. I'll go watch it. But as of right now, I could not care less. The set photos look really cool. I like that how noir it actually does look. But how much in that point do you think is him going to be actually in that suit, or do you think it's going to be like what they're doing with us, not Oscar Isaac, with Pedro Pascal in The Mandalorian, where it's like, hey, he's not even in the suit anymore. It's just his voice, you know?
Yeah, like we're gonna see Nick Cage doing his actual like in universe Nick Cage stuff, and he's gonna be like, "It's me, Spider Man," and then the camera's gonna change, and it's gonna be a different actor. He's gonna be like all of a sudden he's gonna be moving around and shit. So yeah, I hear you, and I think the Nick Cage of it all does take me out of it a little bit. Um, but yeah, no, I hear you 100%. But I think I'm a little more hopeful than you are. But that's because I like life. And Robert, since we're jumping on that, I want to hit one more thing before we get into our last topic. Super Bowl just occurred. Super Bowl just happened. We had some fun commercials, some cool trailers, an awesome Bad Bunny show, but unfortunately, no real big superhero trailers released. We didn't get. I mean, we got like a small new look at Supergirl prior to the Super Bowl. That didn't come out during the Super Bowl. We got news about Spider-Man stuff. No new Spider-Man trailer. No new Doomsday trailer. No new Supergirl trailer. Did you miss any of those? Were you kind of thinking we were going to get some of those trailers at the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's honestly one of the major reasons why I watched Super Bowl is to see the new trailers that come out. Honestly, I don't think there was any really big movie trailers at all, aside for like a little bit of what's it called? Of Project Hail Mary, which I'm very excited for. It's coming out next
Me
month.
too. Me
Very
too.
excited. I love the book very very much. But yeah,
Nerd.
I was very excited to see like, oh, I know like there's still been that like elusive last Doctor Doom focused Avengers Doomsday one, but I also haven't heard anything on the internet about like usually there's rumors like there's like hey like this is gonna be
Mhm.
happening, so I wasn't holding too much to that. You know, it was more of like a casual hope that something was gonna happen. The game was a snooze. Overall, go
Yeah.
Seahawks. We're Joe and I were rooting for the Seahawks. We saw that. I see that Legion the World Killer is also a Seahawks fan. But I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I like to me it's like I was more expecting something for like GTA 6. I was like, ooh, we're gonna start because I mean that's getting close too. But
Is
superhero
it?
movies, yeah, hopefully, allegedly. But what about you? Were you like expecting like a lot of superhero content to be coming out of the Super Bowl?
Surprisingly, no. I wasn't. I was not. I know some people were holding out like Avengers. I personally don't think we're going to get a big Avengers push. It depends on merchandising, I think. If they're not really going to lean into the merchandising, I feel like we're going to get Avengers trailers by the end of summer. We're going to start seeing them. If they're going to do the big merchandising push where like they're going to let out the 50 variations of the same Doctor Doom concept art going like this with different shirts and different fonts saying Doomsday like live laugh love, like unless they're doing that and like they're going to do all the toys and all the different marketing for the merchandise, unless they're really heavily doing the merchandise is what I'm trying to say. I think we're going to get it at the end of summer. If they're really pushing the merchandise, they are going to be selling toys and all that shit. Like, I feel like they're really going to push that probably around like, September, October is what I see. So I wasn't surprised that we didn't see Avengers Doomsday stuff. I was more surprised that we didn't see any type of Spider-Man trailer,
Mm,
because Spider-Man is right around the corner. Spider-Man's coming out in July.
yeah.
So we're 5 months away from that one, and I was kind of thinking if we're going to get anything, it would be some form of Spider-Man trailer, even if it was like a 30-second like voiceover of clips of old movies and then full trailer online, like some bullshit like that. I was thinking we were going to do that at the very minimum. We just didn't. So I'm not. I didn't terribly miss them. I think for Supergirl as well. I mean, for me, the Supergirl lack of Supergirl trailer is on par because we didn't get one for Superman.
Hmm.
That was a big controversy last year. Was like we're gonna do a Superman trailer during the Puppy Bowl or during the Super Bowl or whatever, and then nothing happened. So, um, Yeah, but Spider-Man one was the only one I was really, kind of worried, or not worried, but I was kind of missing. But with that being said, I feel like more studios now are seeing the price tag, and I think what I was reading earlier was north of $10 million per 30
Yeah.
seconds at the Super Bowl. So it's wild. Like I don't know how many I don't know how many birthday parties Ryan Gosling has to go to pay for that ad. But with that being said, kind of jumping into the Supergirl trailers that we didn't get, and the two that a lot of people were talking about were the Supergirl trailer and the Doomsday trailer. I want to bring us into our last topic, Rob,
Mm-hmm.
and which is the fate of the two big cinematic universes, the MCU and this new founded DCU. You know, people have been asking these questions. It's the big 2026. Segregation's coming back, and everyone's got to have different Super Bowls because they can't watch Bad Bunny for some reason. But my point is, in this big year, we got these big movies coming out that are very important for both DC and Marvel. Um, the questions I've been getting a lot and that I've been seeing floating around is, what if Supergirl fails? What if Supergirl doesn't do good? And that one's always followed up with, will Doomsday even be good? And I think people are all over the place because one, it's a new DC universe. The other is Marvel has been really up and down with quality control. So, Robert, first off, I want to throw that first question to you. What if Supergirl fails, and how are you feeling about the potential of that failure and or success of Supergirl?
I do want to say before I jump in, I see a couple of questions in the chat. We'll get to this after this last topic. We'll do a big last question. So whatever questions you have, go ahead and throw them in the chat right now, and then we'll speed run them at the end. But thank you so much for asking all these questions and all your opinions. We really, really love to see them. But overall, I honestly don't think Supergirl is gonna fail at all. I think this movie is gonna hit. To me, there is absolutely no way that this doomsaying. I don't know. Well, maybe I'm jinxing it, but I just don't believe that this movie can fail because it looks so great. We haven't seen really too much of either Doomsday or Supergirl, but I feel way more confident in the stuff that we've seen for Supergirl than I do of Doomsday. If it does fail, I think overall, I don't think it's that bad. I don't think if Supergirl fails right now, because since the DCU is still in its infancy, it has so many ways to come back. It's like, okay, movie number 2 was kind of a stinker. Movie number 3 coming up might be good. I think the only one so far that I believe that has, if it does fail, it might hurt the DCU is going to be Batman. If Batman fails, that is when you have to look into DCU and be like, Urgh. Because that one is a character that means honestly so much more than Supergirl does really to the to DC overall. Supergirl is a nice, I don't want to say novelty character because that's so making it derivative, but it's not the Trinity. It's not, Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman. So I mean, I think we can let Supergirl chill for a bit. Just enjoy it for when it comes out. But I think the pressure is on for Doomsday. What about yourself? What do you think about Supergirl?
I think you're right. I think honestly, both Doomsday and Supergirl, I think are too big to fail for different reasons. One, and I'm just going to come out and say it. People are really hungry for a really good, strong female-led superhero film. We don't have a lot of them, and I think they're I know my daughter is already talking about wanting to see Supergirl when it comes out. There's a lot of little girls that don't see themselves represented as much as they could. I think that alone is going to be a big push for this movie, and that's not even that could be if the movie stinks. That could be if it comes out as a certified stinker on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna that push for that crowd is still gonna go. But I also think that James Gunn is really steering this DCU in a great direction. I think that Millie Alcock, right?
Alcock, yes.
Yeah, I think that from what I've seen, she looks great. The movie style looks great. I just think that this looks fun, and the biggest thing is I think for a lot of comic book fans, it's going to be really interesting because this is probably the first time I understand 300's a thing. I understand the Watchmen's a thing. But this is the first time we have one of the big two, like directly basing something off of a direct comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Civil War can be called Civil War all at once. It is not Civil War.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, exactly. Like Winter Soldier can be called Winter Soldier all at once. It is not the Winter Soldier storyline. This is the Woman of Tomorrow storyline. Obviously, it seems like they're taking liberties. Lobo's not in that storyline typically, but but so I think that's really interesting. I think a lot of people are gonna. I think this will dictate how DC and Marvel might move forward with maybe doing more direct adaptations of some of these stories. But with that being said, I think DC has a great hit with Superman. That's really going to push it. If the movie is just okay, I think it's going to be a success. Is the big thing. But I think it has too much working for it that I would be like insanely surprised if it were to fail. Now going to Doomsday, I think the same thing. I think it's too big to fail, and not just because it's such a big property, but and I've said this before, and I'm going to continue to sound like a broken record a little bit, but like Christopher Marcus and McFeely are writing this movie. They wrote all the other great Avengers movies. The Russo brothers are directing it. They've directed all the other great movies. They're working with half a cast that they've worked with in the past and have really knocked it out of the park. So whenever we're getting into the conversation of like, are these movies going to fail? Are you worried that they're going to fail? I don't think so. I think that they're in great hands, both of the films, but especially Doomsday. Everyone is like, well, we really don't have lead up to these things or what have you. And that's great. That is a valid concern. But this creative team, the people that are behind it, have not given us a bad film. I don't know why they would start now at the 11th hour when it's probably the most important time for them to give us something that's a knock it out of the park kind of thing. But I mean, like you said, Rob, I think they're both in great hands, and I would be shocked if either of these movies fail at the box office or aren't good, like genuinely. Like I think that both these studios, especially Marvel, has gotten wise to that they can't just put out whatever. They're not just going to throw out whatever. And we talked about this last time we had an episode, but allegedly Kevin Feige is like hunkered down and camping out on the Doomsday set. Yeah. Like he's trying his damnedest to make sure that these movies go well. So
yeah,
I think they're in good hands. Though.
Like you said, like you said, these things are way too big to fail. I think that one definitely has more pressure than the other. I definitely think, like you said, Kevin Feige is on that set. James Gunn ain't at, on Supergirl set, but Kevin Feige is like, hey, we need to make sure this is good, because I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff that Marvel's put out in the last few years. People have been saying like Marvel's dead, blah blah blah, whatever. It's not. It's not necessarily making it at what we've liked overall. But like we've always said on this podcast, you cannot compare an Ant-Man Quantumania to Avengers Infinity War. It's just not the same stakes. It's like you have to have those fun, silly little ones off the side for these big ones to matter. You have to give a shit about the characters, and the small ones to give a shit about the characters and the big ones. So I'm very excited for Doomsday. I'm excited for the first actual trailer, because we've had nothing but teaser trailers. But the first trailer that we're going to get is going to be like very much like when Infinity War came out. Those trailers came out. I remember my first big trailer was The Force Awakens. I remember like allegedly driving my car and watching the trailer when it came out on my way to work. Allegedly. But I'm sure it's going to be that moment, because it is going to be this multiversal movie that we didn't get with Multiverse of Madness, which is funny because I just rewatched that for the first time with my wife the other day, which is a movie I never thought I was going to rewatch.
How was it?
Still like it. I think,
but Xochitl Gomez is right there.
I love Xochitl Gomez. Don't get me wrong, I love Xochitl Gomez. Not the best actress in that movie.
I made a post about the Wonder Man thing, and it popped off on Instagram. Xochitl Gomez liked my post.
That's my go.
I was like, she knows I exist. Kill me.
But yeah, I mean, like, I'm Where's Mika Chavez? Anyways, but but yeah, I'm excited very much for these movies to come out. Alex, do you want to jump into these questions that are on stream before we head out for the day?
Yes, Robert. I refreshed Restream and it took the ones out from Corbin. I
Oh,
don't know
good.
if you
Yeah,
can
I'm here on
pull those.
the. Yeah, I have it on Twitch right here. So
Okay,
we'll
let
start with
me. Oh,
Corbin.
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You're good.
Go ahead.
Corbin said two things. One, do you think Heel, meaning Spider-Man Noir, will be the same one from Spider-Verse? And two, from what I remember, Amazon hasn't really missed from when it comes to superhero media, and we'll just have to wait out and see. Um, I don't think he's going to be. If it is the same one from Spider-Verse, I think it'll probably be like a before thing. Like, I don't think he's going to talk about the Spider-Verse in this one. Especially, is Amazon producing this one?
Yes,
Oh,
I
I
thought
didn't
so.
know that. Okay, then I have a little
Yeah,
more faith
it's
now.
it's a Prime Video thing.
Oh, okay. I have a little more faith.
Yeah, at
now.
least. Hold up. Let me double check well that. But um, Spider
Noir.
Amazon, and it auto completed to Amazon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Then you know what, Corbin, you've filled me up with just a little bit more hope that this is going to be good. But yeah, I no okay. If it's Amazon, I feel a little bit better because I thought it was Sony. If it was Sony, I was like, it's GG. Like I don't care. Now it's Amazon. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Because I mean, that's also the same studio that's doing God of War. That's the same one that's doing Tomb Raider. Man, they are really knocking it out of the park with these video game adaptations.
Yeah, but Amy Pascal is still there, so
Yeah, that's Sony. She's at Sony, not Amazon.
Well, no, but she's still executive producing the show.
Oh,
it's Lord and Miller doing it.
Oh, so then maybe it is because they.
So it's
first one.
It's Lord and Miller doing like executive producing with like I guess co-executive producing credits to Amy Pascal.
Interesting.
Then, so she's still involved.
Yeah, but so is Lord Miller.
Can't still fuck it up.
They did.
It's true.
They did the first one. They also did 21 Jump Street. So
they also got kicked out of Deadpool 2.
They did.
So let me see here. Let me grab some of these from TikTok. Oh, hold up. I'm losing them. Let's see here. Hold up. Somebody said something about what if at the end of Doomsday, Dr. Doom becomes God Emperor Doom, Legion World Killer? Thank you very much for the question. And two, I'll be honest with you, I'm not one of those people. I don't know, Rob, if you feel differently. I don't need certain things to happen. I just want the movie to be fun.
Yeah.
Like at this point, I'm so like I don't want. I know some people are like, in Secret Wars, I want us to do the Hulk cover. I need Spider-Man to get the black suit. I need XYZ. I need the Secret Wars #8 cover to happen. And I don't need that. I just want a fun movie at this point. Like I'm so beyond trying to write the movie for the creatives. I just want the creatives to give us something really good. Legion World Killer also goes on. I guess this was during our Superman stuff. Superman would mop the floor against Homelander. I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just trying to see here.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, Shmeek. Robert has not gotten me to watch Invincible yet. Unfortunately, he's not trying hard enough. What'd you say?
Season 4 is coming out. Or season 5? Season 4 or 5? I don't even know which one. It's coming out soon.
Dang, fake fan. But yeah, I don't see any other questions here, so I think we're caught up there.
Yeah, I think we're good. Well, then, to me, that's a wrap. Unless we have any other last
walk out of the room.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for hopping on today to this episode of the Geekday Podcast. So we turned your weekday into a Geek Day. This episode will be live on Friday. So if you did not join in at the very beginning, feel free to jump onto our YouTube, where it'll be live as well as on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Really, anywhere you get your podcasts, we are available there. Alex, if anything else to say before we head out for the night?
Yes. Sometimes when you go to the bathroom and you're gonna drop a deuce, right? You look at the amount of toilet paper that you have left, and you're like, that's probably enough to get me through it. It is seldom enough, brother. Get up and grab another roll before you sit down.
I was gonna say, hey, we're gonna be on someone else's podcast coming up. We're gonna be on the Super Sanctum podcast coming up. I think next. Well, I think we're recording next week.
Yeah, I don't know when it's actually coming out. I know that's when they record. I don't know if they're cool and topical like us. But I don't know if it'll be banked or if it's going to come out like soon after that. But I'm sure we'll make a post about it.
Yes.
Whenever that's going on.
We're going to be making a guest appearance on the Super Sanctum podcast. So very excited about that, as well as we're looking to have some really cool guests coming on in the future. We just got to schedule them. So look forward to more coming from us here at the Geekday Podcast. Also, if you're interested in tabletop RPGs, there's a really cool episode of our Common Creatures podcast coming out on Friday. Also, different page, look us up, Common Creatures, there too. We're doing a GM Academy training with Ethan on there, so it'd be really cool if you have any questions about.
Oh, is that what y'all did?
That's what we did.
That's dope. I mean, I know what's going on in the other show I'm on.
So thank you so much, guys. Alex, this has been fun. We should do it again sometime.
How about every week? For the rest of our lives.
Every week. Hopefully Thursdays. That hopefully be Thursdays.
Hopefully we'll get back to Thursdays. Yes.
Thank you so much,
Alrighty,
guys.
dudes. We'll catch y'all later.
Next week.